Massacres happened down in our area just because they did, because there was a lot of stealing of the sheep or cow. And from my knowledge of the reading, that was the main purpose of massacre, for thieving animal to live. Because white man's come here, cleared the bush, made it his home, moved the black fellas' food, tucker, out. So they've picked on their animals, which is just standing there, which they didn't have to chase. And yeah, they're rubbing their bellies later with the feed, where probably that night or the next day they were killed for having that animal. And the Snowy River yarn, which I believe to be true, is just that there was a mob of troopers out riding one day, and this woman was trying to make it from one side of the river to the other. Snowy River is very wide in places, and they spotted her. It was just the troopers, and they shot her, but they didn't get the little fella. And him growing up to be Jambi O'Rourke, to our knowledge. And we are direct descendants of that man.
In 1814, the original Rook landed at Botany Bay. I think it was in a boat called the Three Bees. And the boat didn't get back to England. It burnt in the harbour. And he had to do 7 years. Now, we don't really know, none of us, nobody's ever been able to tell me why he was given a free trip to Australia in 1814. But the rumour was that he'd been caught teaching Irish children to read and write in what they referred to as hedge schools in those days.
From that massacre where his mother got shot, and those Irish people saved him and took him back to Sugan where he was reared up to a young man with the English tongue, spoke English. Jambi was his name, but he had the name of O'Rourke, which was, of course, not Aboriginal. It's Irish. That's what brought my attention. I was looking for my mother's maiden name. Where did she get an Irish name from? My black mother. That's why I did what I had to do to find out where it came from. And Jambi was sole survivor. They took him back, they reared him, then he left them as an older young man, I guess, and went and had his own tribe. That's why I sit here and tell this story today.
Well, I was always led to believe that it was my great-grandfather, David, and his cousin, Edward, that picked up when they came along. They knew nothing about what was going on with people shooting Aboriginals, and they hove on the scene just by chance, some hours later, to find Jambi's mother dead on the sand of the Snowy with this little pickaninny beside her. And they picked the pickaninny up and took him home and reared him. And he was reared among their family as far as I could make out, just like one of their own. And he grew up to be a man, was a very well respected stockman within the family.
When you educated that young fella, thank you for giving him a name that he could walk without being, That's how I feel. He had a surname. Might have been the white surname that saved him all those years. I don't know. He survived a massacre, so he walked his life with a white name, as far as I know, Jambi O'Rourke. So in that sort of context, he had protection because he had that white name.
I became curious because I always thought then, well, if I would just love to run into some of Jambi's descendants.
We just jumped off the train at Southern Cross. Now we're, me and my cousin Francis, we're out front having a cigarette. Francis and Lenny and Catherine, they don't smoke. So they're sitting there having a cup of tea. Two old couple walk up to Lenny, or they're sitting at the next table, and said something to Lenny as to, you come from Lake Tyres, do you? Or something to that effect. And Lenny said, yes, as a matter of fact, I was born there.
And he said to me, hang on. And he yelled out, Elaine, come here. And with that, Elaine, Terrick came over, and I told her what I was looking for and why I was looking for them. And she happened to say that she was, I think, the great-granddaughter of Jambi. And I said, well, I'm looking for them because I want to know the story of Jambi from your people's side, not from the white man's side. And I said, no, I don't care what it is. And so with that, she then said to me, but I'm looking for the O'Rourkes. I've been looking for a year or two and there's none of them about. Well, I said, my grandmother happened to be Johanna Mary O'Rourke.
After my 2 years of studying at TAFE, this was the fellow I was looking for, and he found me in the middle of thousands of people, Southern Cross Station, Melbourne. I think he was on his way down here to Bairnsdale, Buchan actually, to see his brother who lives out in Walgummerang, out past Buchan, and we was on our way to Alice Springs, so just to meet him at that one spot, that was unreal. How you going, Ken? Nice to see you again.
Yes, good to see you. Funny how we met here, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
For all that history to go past for me and you two.
Yeah.
Meet upstairs and it's just unreal, isn't it?
It is unreal. People don't believe it when you tell them.
No.
That I'd been keeping my eye open for years to try and run into descendants of Jambi. Just to be able to thank the descendants of your people for allowing my forebears to settle in that area, because your people could have wiped them out any time you liked.
I reckon we're a good mob. I reckon you're a good mob too. All right then, Ken.
Where we better go?
We better get up this way and have a cuppa now, eh?